It was a domestic passenger plane that crashed at around 5:42 local time in central Cuba with 68 people aboard, including 28 foreigners. Now, according to a report on state radio, there were no survivors. However, state television hasn't made any reference to whether there were survivors, simply calling it a lamentable accident. Now, no details have been given about the nationalities of the foreigners aboard. What we do know is that it was an Aero-Caribbean flight headed from Santiago de Cuba in the Far East to Havana. It reported an emergency at around 5:42, like I said, and then crashed near the town of Guasimal in the province of Sancti Spiritus in the center of Cuba. Now, I reached by phone a hospital worker who said she actually witnessed the crash. She said the plane burst into flames when it hit the ground, and she could actually see it 3 kilometers away. And she said the site was still surrounded by firefighters and ambulances. Now, Aero-Caribbean is a Cuban state-owned airline, and the plane was a twin turboprop. The Cuban state media said it's going to continue to give us updates throughout the night, including the names of passengers, but at this point, this is all we know, Anna.
Shasta, any word on the conditions at the time of the accident?
None whatsoever. We do know, Anna, that there was contact made about an emergency, but then apparently they lost contact, and then of course there was the crash. Obviously, we don't have any details about whether there had been any problems with this particular plane. There aren't that many crashes in Cuba. It's not a common occurrence, but we really don't have those details right now, Anna.
And Shasta, as we know, it was heading to Havana. Do we know about the area where this plane crashed?
It's a fairly rural area, Emma. It's right in the middle of the country. This is a long island. Remember, it's almost 1,000 kilometers from one end to the other. So it's a fairly quiet rural area. And apparently, from what the hospital worker told me, the people were having trouble getting to it because it wasn't that accessible.